When starting a business, one of the key questions that you must ask yourself are what are the costs going to be? In today's video, I'm going to go through everything you need to know when it comes to the costs of becoming a sole trader. I'll look at the upfront costs and the ongoing costs. Let's start with the upfront cost of becoming a sole trader. So what do you actually need to spend in order to become a sole trader? So technically, you can actually start as a sole trader for nothing. It is completely free if you go and do your own ABN application. That's because to be a sole trader, the only thing you actually need is an ABN. Once you have an ABN, you can start your business, and you can get your ABN for free if you do it yourself through the Australian Business Registry. So it is a little bit of a process there because you have to answer all the different questions, but once you've got that, you can actually start your business. Now, the reality is though, most people are going to also want a business name. And that is because without a business name, the only name you can trade under is your own name. So if you're John Smith, then you can trade under John Smith with your ABN, but you can't be John Smith Gardening. So you might go and register a business name. Now, a business name does have a cost. So here is our first actual cost of starting up as a sole trader. So it is currently $42 for a 1-year registration or a $98 registration for 3 years. A lot of the times, if I wouldn't know what I wanted to do, whether this business is going to be successful, I'd probably just do the 1-year registration. But let's say we did the 3-year registration, well, we're still under $100 to get started. Now, of course, if you need help with any of this process, you could go to an accountant, a tax agent, and they're likely going to be able to help you, but obviously this will likely come with a fee as well. You also might want some general advice about whether a sole trader is right for you, or maybe you want to do a company structure instead. You can obviously go and watch some of my YouTube videos on those topics, so make sure you do that and hit that subscribe button, or you could go to your tax agent and speak to them. Just be aware this is likely going to be another cost in your startup phase of becoming a sole trader. There's going to be a range of other upfront costs. So I'm going to bring up a big list here of some of the things, and this isn't all of them, but this is just some. So we've got things like website costs, domain names, logos, email provider, general business setup costs, insurances, marketing, research, legal fees. There's a lot of different things that could go into starting a business. Probably the key ones that I think you're going to want is you're likely going to want at least a domain name so that you can have an email address with your domain name at the end. So for instance, I have an email address where we can have different ones, whether it's our admin email address, admin@rushockaccounting.com.au. That's because I own the domain name rushockaccounting.com.au. So if you want that a little bit of extra professionalism, this is going to come with a cost, but this also then allows you to go ahead and you can have a website, and maybe then you're going to be able to link that website on your social media pages. You might want to go and pay for a logo, or you could do that yourself through something like Canva. A lot of the costs when it comes to starting up a business is just going to depend on how much work you're willing to do yourself versus what you're willing to pay for. Now, before I get into talking about the ongoing costs, if this is all sounding pretty stressful and you don't really know where to start, I actually have a course which is how to start a business in Australia. In that course, I go through the idea generation phase, all these different registrations such as ABNs, business names, GST, pay-as-you-go withholding. I also then go and talk about managing your finances. So how are you going to track your income and expenses? Is the business actually financially viable? How are you going to manage cash flows and budgets? If you're interested, you can go to the link that's in the description of this video. But let's get back into the ongoing costs of being a sole trader. So when we're talking about ongoing costs, I kind of put them into two different buckets here. First, let's look at like the ongoing costs of actually just running the business. So we already talked about business names. Well, we know that if we're going to renew a business name, it's going to cost us $42 for 1 year or $98 for 3 years. So if we're going to continue to stay in business, this is another ongoing cost we're going to have. As a sole trader, you could definitely go and do your own tax return, but most people are probably going to go to an accountant. So we've now got tax agent fees that we're going to have to pay each year to get our tax return done. And obviously, if we maybe register for GST or we're going to do some tax planning, these could grow in cost depending on what services you actually need. Now, how are you going to manage all of your tax affairs on a day-to-day basis? How are you going to track your ins and out? Well, you're probably going to be using some type of accounting software. So if you're using accounting software such as Xero, or maybe you're using QuickBooks, you're going to have another cost here. A lot of these softwares are now set up with monthly recurring costs, so this is another ongoing cost of just managing your sole trader affairs. And then of course, you're going to have a variety of different business costs ongoing. All that big list that I brought up earlier, as you see here, all of these things are probably going to be things that keep coming up throughout the course of your business. Just because you paid for them at the start doesn't mean that they're never going to come up again. Even something like a logo, you might want to do further design work in the future, or maybe you want to do a rebrand. So that is an expense that could come up again. So what you need to do is make sure you've done a thorough analysis of your business. How much income do you think your business can generate? what are going to be the upfront costs and what are going to be the ongoing costs, and is this business still profitable overall? Obviously, the higher your upfront costs are, the more profit you have to make just to break even. And therefore, you need to understand that if you've got $100,000 of upfront costs and your business is only going to make $25,000 profit a year, it's going to take you 4 years just to break even on those upfront costs. So be aware of your costs when you're starting a business before you even get started, because if your business is not going to meet the profit that you need it to, then you're going to run into trouble. Now, one of the things to maximizing the profit you make from your business is to make sure you're optimizing your tax position. And you optimize your tax position by making sure you're maximizing your expenses you're claiming. In this upcoming video, I go through all things sole trader expenses and talk about what you can actually claim as a sole trader. Thanks for watching, and I hope to see you over there.